Is it the same or different on there?
I have no idea. Listen, it's cool. Just say Instagram, all right? Just like find me where you are. I'm the worst. Instagram's the best way to do it. Facebook, just find me on Larry Dixon. It's tough. I'm terrible at it. I'm working on it.
Atlas A&T if you need your taxes did. Boom. So I'm sorry. We're talking about schools canceling the gifted program, and so tell me what your concern is canceling the gifted program. We're terrible.
Yeah, no, we're about to go. Listen, we just have to get back on track. Quickly.
We'll get there. It's been 2 hours.
There are no tracks, bro. That's what I'm
saying. Listen, that's fine. Just we'll do 10-hour rift and we'll just cut it all down. We'll just
send somebody before we came here. She's like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, you get home like around this time." And I was like, "Well, Larry's going to be on this week, so it's good.
I'm not going to
run long. That's it. So just know it's going to run long. So we got some business to talk about afterwards. So I'm going to be at Collins for a little while. So we're going to be doing some shit. So
that's what I'm saying. I told my wife, I was like, "Yeah, it won't be that long." In the back of my mind, it would be super long.
She could blame us. That's entirely reasonable.
You're right. That's exactly what I'll say. But on the schools, so I've always felt like schools should be an individual thing, right? Like for you, you're a perfect example. You're not stupid, right? You literally are talking about polishing off 2 to 3 books in a week and then talking about your comprehension being there and you're doing it with a kid. You're not. But what you probably were bored, right? Mm-hmm. Because like you have to engage. One, teaching the general doesn't matter, right? I hate the fact that we cover so many things. Like we should cover like 3 things. 2, I feel like we have to be able to alter and change the pace of it, the curriculum, based off of how you do. And so what's happening is, one, I don't like because they canceled it because not enough Black people are in there, right? We can talk about how my feelings.
That's what it is because it's racist.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh
it's racist.
God,
100%. We backdoored into racism, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, now there's people who would have benefited for it who are just going to be bored and they're going to be like you. Like I feel like a lot of your school, if you went back and really thought about it, you were probably just bored because you were doing something stupid. And it's not fun to do boring things. So you're going to do something that's fun. When you're a kid, most of the things you think are fun are immature, right? You're going to do silly things in the back. And I saw mainly in math class when I took easy math and I was never engaged, or I did it in reading because I hate reading. Like I don't care what a person in 1902 wrote a book about. Like it's not interesting.
Exactly. Animal Farm.
And I'll always
that's a little before that.
100%. That's like I've never cared. Like I don't. I've read like 1 fiction book since I graduated high school.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like fiction at all.
Different strokes,
100%. And I can judge people, but it's boring to me. So it's just like, that's my biggest problem. It's just like now there's going to be another echelon of people have done it, and we've done it over the veil that like we're helping Black people, and I don't like how we're constantly being helped here, or like it's just. Our low expectations are so expected that when other people don't meet our low expectations that are set for us, we then punish everybody and then point at us and say, hey, like, because these group of people can't do it because they're not as smart, it's not fair to them. We've never built anything that's ever been important off of that basis. And so that's like my problem, right? Like my basis is it should be an individual endeavor, which is why, again, if you look at the homeschool numbers, what I tell you, homeschool pods are going to be the thing of the future. I said first time I came on here, it's my favorite thing to talk about. That being said, homeschool numbers are skyrocketing. Why? Because the curriculum's shit and all the kids were sitting on their computers and now their parents are in the background. And when they're just like, they're saying all this reckless shit, or they're talking about a 7th grader being like, what's 4 + 4? And he's like 7. And it's like, okay, Timmy, you were so close. Like, no, idiot, tell him he's fucking wrong. And so again, I'll get super passionate about this. I really think we're fucking us on school. And if school's like our way to catapult us up to new levels, like you guys have seen as you've gotten smarter, you've gotten into different circles, you've done more, then we're literally ruining our future.
We're kneecapping ourselves. And it's like 100%. It seems like that's kind of that's the theme of the day outside. I don't remember what I said it was earlier, but it's the theme of the day. It's kneecapping ourselves. Yeah, we're fucking ourselves over in all these different areas. We're setting our youth up for failure, whether it's in schools, when they enter the military, and all these different facets that we're kneecapping. We're going to set them up to not be as good as they can be because we don't want to risk failure for them, which is counter to everything that any successful person has ever told us about being successful. They've never said you can't fail. If you fail, it's done for. Every successful person ever has said you cannot be afraid to fail because you are going to fail. You are going to fail over and over and over and over again until you learn exactly what you need to do, and then you will figure it out. And that's how you know you've made it. You are going to continue to fail forever.
Yep.
You know, so to not allow people to fail is especially youth, right? To not allow youth to fail is a horrible mistake. You
Terrible
know what I'm
idea.
saying?
Yeah.
There's very few things I won't allow Dax to do, and it's what I'm afraid he's going to really hurt himself. You know, I'm not afraid to let him get hurt. I'm not afraid for him to fall. I'm not afraid for him to get fucked up. It is what it is. He is a child. He will figure it out. He has to learn somehow. I'll tell him,
you're there to prevent hospitalization and death.
That's what I'm saying. I'll tell him, be careful, but there's some shit you have to learn yourself, and you can't learn by me telling you to be careful. I'm going to tell you, but you have to figure it out yourself. You know,
what the fuck does dad know? I could get
he doesn't listen anyway. That's why I have tell him 10 times. He doesn't care anyway, you know, but it's
he's not going to care for another, 16 to 20 years.
Man. And that's exactly, and you were talking about homeschooling, and we talked about, Jordan just told me about this morning. There was the chiropractor we talked about during COVID that was saying shit that we talked about that was reckless, right?
Wild.
That obviously a lot of what she said turned out to be pretty true, right?
Wild.
At the time, it was uncorroborated, and that was the point that we took from it, is we can't prove this yet. It's dangerous to be sharing this information. Mistake on our part, because fucking look at us. She was right. So anyway, my beef is largely settled with this woman. Jordan has started to see her, especially over the last week or so. We'll talk about that afterwards. Anyway, Jordan started to see this woman again, and when she went to see her, this is like a very holistic chiropractor and like healing and stuff like that, and
straddles the worlds between chiropractic and naturopath.
Yes, yeah. But she's a cool lady, and so anyway, she apparently started a youth soccer league, because her daughter wanted to play soccer, but all of the youth soccer leagues required masks. So she started a soccer league that made masks optional. Right? Yeah. Because she's a doctor, she was able to procure exemptions for all these kids, so that anybody who didn't need to wear a mask didn't have to wear a mask. Right? She's a doctor, so all
still
these
has to get the exemption.
The state opened up an investigation into her business, into her everything, because she's trying to do this. Right? She's also started a school where they have a youth program, a elementary school program, and then like that they bought a barn, they renovated it, they have teachers for Montessori schools that they hired and brought over here. They're already looking to expand because so many people have brought their kids into this school. Right?
I think we've talked about that's one of my major bugaboos is I want to essentially down the road start a Salt-of-the-Streets school, because the schooling is so important, and like we could probably spend an entire episode talking about school, so I'll try to be succinct.
That's one of the topics for this week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, everything we talk about now is a topic for the week, baby. But there is something systematically wrong with our schooling system, our education system, right? And I believe that it's essentially a problem that has been exacerbated by the sheer scale of what is required for schooling and the standardization of things at scale.
The general knowledge Larry was talking about, all the different general education.
Yeah, exactly. And we are unable to continue the same education model that we've had since the 50s, because it is unable to serve the people it needs to serve. It's still designed to service people as if we were in the 1950s,
which we are not.
And it's one of the biggest travesties, I think, of our modern society, is our complete and utter lack of concern for the betterment of our youth. We hear it all the time. It's for the children, but it's all empty platitudes. It's really for the people that are telling you it's for the schools. It's actually for them.
Oh yeah, that's why all of these different mandates are happening. You know, that's why the state workers have to get vaccinated. That's why all the teachers have to get vaccinated. That's why every public worker has to get vaccinated. It's for the kids. You know, that's why we need to talk about passports, because it's for the kids, so they can stay in school. Hopefully, Jay Inslee said this the day that Joe Biden had his press conference talking about the federal vaccine mandates. Jay Inslee had another one we talked about like 5 minutes afterwards, in which he talked about, referenced several times, hopefully people will make the right choice, the responsible choice, so our kids can stay in school. And people make the responsible choice to get vaccinated so our kids can stay in school.
Yeah.
What the fuck does me getting vaccinated have anything to do with the kids staying in school? Nothing, because I might come across one in a store in which they could possibly get it for me when I walk past them. Is that what you're talking about? Or like that's how we're going to form our whole society?
Not even that
contingencies
of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't make any sense. It's just whatever, that's just the justification this time. It's for the blacks, it's for the kids, it's for whatever. Like it's just, someone needs help, and that's why we're going to do it. It's because someone is being left behind, and we don't know why, but it's happening, and so we've got to remedy it. We're not going to find out why, but we're going to fix it.
And to put a cap on it, and to bring us back to where we started, because what we started was the gifted programs.
Couldn't even tell you.
Right?
Oh, there you go.
Gifted children programs, stuff like that.
Who knows?
To put a cap on that, what we're dealing with here is the same thing we've dealt with multiple times over the last, I don't know how many years at this point, but it's what we used to say was the soft bigotry of low expectations, which is just now straight bigotry of low expectations. You're assuming that you
can't do it. So we're going to help you.
Yeah. We're assuming that the quote unquote BIPOC community is less than, because we've dubbed this beautiful thing called white privilege that makes white people the greatest thing since sliced bread, which I think sliced bread is rather overrated. Let me just state that for the fucking record, because if you're not cutting your own bread, you're doing something wrong. But that's where all of this stems from. It stems from the deeply racist viewpoint that people that aren't white are less than. And I don't understand in the year fucking 2021 how anybody can hold that fucking view and call themselves an anti-racist.
That's because, and this is the anti-racist view, and that's because you're racist and you don't even know it.
I forgot about that.
You don't know it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not only is the BIPOC community left behind, they're left behind because you want them to be, and you don't even know it.
That's right. I forgot.
So we have to train you so that you don't want that anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Which is like, like you said, it used to be like a choice almost. If you could be sold on it, then this is what you were into. Now it's like, if you're not sold on it, I'm telling you, you are a racist. And the only way you cannot be one is by my help. And you got to hire this bitch that I know. And it's like $10K a week, but she's got to come in. She has to.
She's got to come in.
That's the only way.
And she's white, by the way.
But we don't need to mention that. But it's only because she is so reformed that she can reform you.